Hello everyone, welcome back to Alex on Irons, and in today's video I'm going to do a preview of tomorrow's game against Chelsea at the London Stadium. Coming off that 3-0 loss at the Stadium of Light, there's a bad vibe around the club, let's be honest. People are a bit negative, including myself, considering we've made literally no movement in getting any midfielders in. So the concept of this show is going to be pretty basic, pretty quick. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. I'm just going to give you the news on the players, who I would have in the starting 11, what I like about Chelsea, and then my overall kind of score and predictions for the match. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, Luis Guilherme was absent last week. We didn't know why. We thought it could have been a strategical choice by Potter. It wasn't. He actually broke his collarbone. Yeah, he's going to be out for a few weeks. Obviously not a terrible injury. He should be back within 5-6 weeks, but it'll probably be in the same window as Somerville, if not a bit later, which is a shame because when he came on in pre-season, he had a lot of spark to him. He had a lot of flair. Sort of thing we were lacking in the second half at the Stadium of Light. And maybe if he was on the pitch, I'm not saying we would have stopped conceding 3 goals, but I think we would have been better off potentially in the forward areas, had a bit of spark. I don't know why I get the vibe around him. He actually would be kind of, he'd be up for the game if the crowd were against him. He gives me that sort of vibe. Yes, he's only young and maybe that wouldn't be the best thing, but I do think he'd actually give it a go. I do think he'd try to turn the tide of the game, which I think is a player we need. Unfortunately, he's not available. And the aforementioned Somerville, still not available. Hopefully, we'll be back for the game against Tottenham after the international break, but we do have to wait and see on that one. Callum Marshall is back from his suspension, which was playing for Huddersfield, so he is available for selection as well, so at least we'll have one more attacker on the bench. And yeah, that's kind of it really. There's nothing really more to report. Edson Alvarez, of course, is off to Fenerbahce, so he will not be available. I assume he's on his way there if he's not already there now. Will probably be announced before the game tomorrow. That is a loan, which is a bit crap, but at least it gets some wages off the books, which I know is not what people want to hear, but it's the truth. So we have to take it with a smile. We have to look at the squad we've got, which is quite a big squad. So I'm going to take you through that now and who I would say is in my team. This is not what Graham Potter would do. This is not like a prediction for Graham Potter. This is who I would say should be in the starting lineup on Friday, tomorrow, or today if you're watching this. I don't know when you're watching this. You could be watching it after the game just to get in the comments and laugh at me. There is potential there for that. So in my starting lineup, which you should be seeing on the screen in incremental bits, I've gone with Mads Hermansen in goal. I still think he's the right choice. It baffles my mind, some people, when new signings come in and people are like, he hasn't performed on day one, get him up the squad. Areola should have started. What are we talking about? It's his first game as a goalkeeper for West Ham. Yes, he made some mistakes, but also a big part of a goalkeeper is his communication with his defenders and the relationship he has with them, which of course he wouldn't have built up yet. And you could have said maybe put Areola in that game. It could have been potentially good. But also, if Areola did really well, you can't hook him the next week. You have to keep him in the squad. So I think it was a risk that Potter took that didn't pay off. But overall, I do think Hermansen will come good. I do think he'll be a great player for us. I just think people need to give him time. He's young as well for a goalkeeper. I know that 24, 25, people see that in football as the prime age, which in a sense it is. But as a goalkeeper, that's relatively quite early. I do think he'll come good for us. I do think he'll be solid. And with the system that I've put in for this game, I think it will help him rather than hinder him. So that means, yes, I am changing the system from the Sunderland game. I don't think Potter will do this, but this is what I want to see. And it's going to be a back four. A back four, I know, crazy at West Ham. It feels like we've done that in ages. And sometimes I quite like the back five. But I feel like in a game when we need a response from the players, giving them a back five doesn't really give them much purchase going forward. So I think we need to give them back four to allow those extra players up top, even though we don't have many of them. Hopefully you like what I've gone for. So the back four I've gone with is Kyle Walker-Peters left back, John Clare Tadiro and Naifa Gerd centre backs, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. I just think that's the best defence we can get. I know what you're thinking. Where's Juve? He's on the pitch. Don't worry about it. And that probably makes it obvious where he's going. But overall, I just think it's the best way that we can do it. I also think it allows us to shadow our plans. Are we still playing a back three with Walker-Peters or, Wan-Bissaka at the centre-back positions? Are we still going for that back five? It allows Maresca to not exactly know what we're doing, which I think is important. It kind of allows us to have a few options as well. If we do want to revert back to the back five during the game, we can still do that with the system. And the players will be sharp. They still will know what they're doing. They'll be used to that system as well. So it won't be too distracting to them to make that work. If you get what I'm saying, it's not going to be like a horrible switch. It's not going to be that they have to change their entire mentality to make it work. I also think that Agerd and Todibo are our best centre-backs. I know some people would say, oh no, Mavropanos deserves a go, and yes he does. Also, Agerd wasn't very good last week, but then again, none of our defence was. I don't think you can really judge it on that, and if you're going with who our two best defenders was last week, you're really slim pickings. I do think Todibo and Agerd, for all their faults, are our best two centre-backs, and really good centre-back as well. If they can build that partnership, they could be a great centre-back pairing in the Premier League. So it's all about timing for me. It's all about making sure these guys get the best out of each other, and we can move on from that, and hopefully this could be a defence going forward. Obviously, maybe with Walker Peters leaving the squad for somebody else, which I'll get into in a maybe future prediction video. But overall, this is the back four I would start. Let me know in the comments though, would you pick Mavropanos? Would you pick Kilman? Would you put Juff in the defence? What would you guys do? My midfield, I feel kind of harsh on this one because I'm going to go with a double pivot of Freddie Potts and Thomas Souček in the middle, which I know means dropping Guido Rodriguez, which I never thought I'd say I'd feel bad for, but overall he was probably one of our more effective players and one of the players that was most up for the game. And fair play, he did sort of win me over a little bit. I still don't think he's got the strength of the Premier League. I don't think he's got the pace for it. I don't think he's Premier League suited. But overall, as well, I was impressed with how much effort he put in. Because that, to me, is important, especially in a game where you're 3-0 down. You could easily sit there and just, not bother. He was still trying. He gave me the James Ward-Prowse energy of someone that will still run about and still put effort in. And I actually think off the bench that could be quite useful. Obviously, in a world where hopefully we sign 2 more midfielders, I don't see Souček starting. Even though I quite like Thomas Souček, I'm a Thomas Souček defender. I think he is fantastic. I think he scores goals. Why we're not just giving him a new contract automatically, to me, is baffling. Because I know that he's not the best footballer, but he's effective. And if you say not to sell him to somebody else, you're not going to get much money for him because of his footballing ability. But actually, how effective he is on the pitch should come into play, but I don't think it will. And overall, I do think Potts next to Souček would be quite good. They have similar styles. Obviously, Souček not the best defensively. Potts very good defensively. Those guys defending the back line I think would work well, which allows Lucas Paquetá to go further up the pitch. I've got Lucas Paquetá in the 10. I know that he is a 10. He literally is our number 10, but I've put him in that position today. I think overall, he's effective when he's that far out. I was contemplating him putting him on left wing, and I was like, who am I going to put as the forward midfielder? And it was almost Souček. It was almost where I went. I think that's potentially the only option you could do because he's not available yet. So, to me, Paquetá, Souček, Potts in the midfield, it's our best midfield option. It's our best 3. And if we're changing the system, let's put our best players on the pitch and see. I know this is rushing Potts into the first team, but overall I think he's ready. The fact he didn't start last week, I understood it. I've said, we need to put him in the team sporadically, but we also didn't give him a chance to get any minutes in, and I actually thought we were better as a midfield with Freddie Potts in the team than without Freddie Potts. So that leaves the front 3. I've gone with Malik Juff left wing, Jared Bowen right wing, and Nicholas Füllkrug up top. No surprise to anyone, I'm sure. I just think Bowen's the best on the right. I think Malik Juff is better at attacking than defending at the minute in the Premier League. And overall, I think this works. I don't know, I can see us sneaking a 1-0 here. I can see us getting it with this front line. And overall, the Bowen Füllkrug, they got a good partnership. It's not very effective. It's sort of like having a good workmate, but then you don't really get much work done because of it. It's that sort of thing. I'm not suggesting they're distracting each other or taking away from each other. That analogy in itself is pretty bad, but it just overall I think works better like this. I think Bowen on the right is always better. When he drifts out to the right in the game anyway, he's better. It doesn't make sense to me why we keep trying to change Jared Bowen into a striker when we know he's one of the best right wingers in the Premier League. I'm not being hyperbolic with that. It is a fact. He is incredible at that right wing. As a striker, he's okay. He can score goals. You're just nullifying his best assets to fit him into a system, which we shouldn't do. We should build the system around Jared Bowen as he is our best player. Füllkrug up top, again, we didn't really have much service, did he? He couldn't really do much last Saturday, so I'm not really going to put too much against him. And so Malik Juff, I've been impressed with him. I think he's been really good. I do think his better moments have been going forward though, which is why I think for this game you could put him left wing. In the future I put Somerville in the system and I moved Juff back to left back, taking out Walker Peters. I think that would be our best 11 until we sign some midfielders, please. So yeah, that is the squad. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And I'm going to quickly go into my thoughts on Chelsea, and overall they're a good team. They've done some good business. I don't need to go some of my Premier League predictions that went up yesterday, but I do think they'll do well this season. I do think they'll have a great season. I do think it'll be tough. I think against Crystal Palace, they were lucky not to lose. I know the rules on the free kicks, and yes, by the letter of the law, it was disallowed, but come on. They're champions of the world, so you got to give them some credit, but I do think there is a game to win here, and this is not me being cocky or confident, it's just overall when they come to the London Stadium, they don't tend to do too well. Obviously that was in the David Moyes era, and now in the Graham Potter era, so it is different times. But I just have a feeling that we can nick it. I'm not saying we will nick it. And overall, I do like Enzo Maresca. I do think he's made some really good signings. I think Bino Gittins will come good. Again, another player at a so-so start in the Premier League, and people already go, you need to drop him next week. That's not how football works. Players don't immediately come into a team and are world beaters. I know with the money spent now, that's what you'd assume, but that's unfortunately how inflation works. As soon as you start spending more money on players, just because the money's gone up doesn't mean that the quality therefore goes up, if that makes sense to you. Like, signing somebody like Thierry Henry back in the day obviously would not have cost 80 million. I'm not going to pretend to know how much he did. But he had time to develop into the team because it wasn't that expensive. Whereas now, Florian Wirtz, Gyökeres, all these players that get so much money, it takes them so long, to still fit in. But people expect them to hit the ground running, which isn't the case. But overall, I think their squad's good. Their striking options are good with João Pedro, Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson. Defensively, they're a bit shaky. I'm not a massive fan of Sanchez. So there is room to get something here. Do I think we will? I'm going to go for a 1-1. An optimistic draw, which doesn't seem very optimistic, but hey, I'll take it. Yeah, I do think the goal will come from Jared Bowen on a counter-attack. I just see Delap scoring against us. I don't know why. I think he'll start. Obviously, Jackson is a player that I've said I would like at the club, so it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a goal. After I've said Bino Gittins isn't up to speed, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a goal. But I'm not going to stick 1-1. I think we will do better, especially with this system. If we start with 5 at the back, I don't know, because I don't see how this 5 at the back system works. I know it's Graham Potter's preferred system, but I don't see how with the players we've got, we can use it effectively. Whereas I know that these players, for the most part, can use a 4 at the back system very well. But more importantly, what do you guys think? Do you guys think we can get a result here today? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on the series, anything I can do to change it, improve it, what you want to see next week. Let me know, and I will make sure I try to implement it as best I can. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys' support has been incredible over the past few weeks. I know I've been away, and the views have taken a hit as naturally the algorithm does. But I'm back now, and hopefully going to be doing regular videos again. So hopefully you'll see my face a lot more. But on the channel, you can find my other socials where I am relatively active, and you'll be able to have updates on there. But until next time, guys, have a good day. I'll see you guys later. Take it easy, and bye-bye.